Alright guys, so this video I'm just gonna go over really quick how I do like armor for characters inside of Blender. So this was the knight character that I made for my game. He's like a good guy actually. Well, spoiler alert, he's a good guy, kinda. He's okay, let me just shut up before I just ruin the whole game. Um, so basically, he's in my game right now, and these are all separate pieces. This is an old file I'm using for demonstration, but in the final file that I made for him, because I made a lot of extra backups, he's completely rigged. All these, like his helmet, is actually all just one piece. As of right now, these are all separate pieces. Um, but in the final build, Blender, oh whoa, not Blender. These are all just, this is just like one piece. Like I can grab this and everything will move. It's all joined together and rigged and parented to the armature properly. Um, so with that being said, I'm just going to go over real quick how I do armor. I'm going to start with the helmet, or I might just only do the helmet because I just don't have all day to go over, redo this whole guy while I'm explaining it. It's way faster when you don't have to explain it. But as of right now, it's just like a mannequin underneath. You might have like a character that is actually, um, you know what I mean, like has a, eyes, nose, mouth, ears, all that stuff. So you might not be able to do this method. But if you don't, but if you do have something like that, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to just have like a little mannequin reference to where you can grab a bunch of faces and kind of conform it to a head. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. This is the method I'm using. I'm just gonna select all the faces that will conform to a head. You know what I mean? Because this is already retopologized and all that. So I'm just gonna grab all the all the faces that are going to create a helmet. Right? I'm gonna hit Shift D. I'm gonna hit P selection, and what? Blender, don't you fucking start with me right now. How did I grab all of that? Tell me how I grabbed all these faces right here. How in the fuck did I grab all of these faces when I was just focused on the head? I'm gonna keep it a honey bun with y'all. Blender fucking hates everything that you do. Blender hates everything that you stand for. Uh, I don't know if Blender didn't realize, but I'm not in the mood to get fucked right now, okay? Like, I'm really not in the mood, okay? So we're just gonna go. We're gonna go over all of this, right? Okay, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna hit Shift D. We're gonna hit P selection, right? And then we're gonna select that, and we're gonna. There you go. Now it's just one piece, not the anime, but you know. All right, and oh my god. So we're gonna go ahead and apply the shrink wrap, apply the mirror, and Blender for some reason is going to throw a bitch fit and is going to absolutely wreck your shit. So like we're gonna have to go over here and merge all of these, and I'm gonna turn on screencast keys for all the homies. That way you can see what I'm clicking. But I'm using Hard Ops and Box Cutter for all of this, guys. So if you don't have those add-ons, I highly recommend you get them if you're into hard surface modeling or any type of modeling, to be honest with you, because it honestly helped me build my entire mall environment and for my game. So with that being said, we can move the origin to the object. We can go into write mode and we can scale this up a little bit. Okay, scale it up a little bit. I really don't understand what's going on the back side here with this. So I'm just going to right view and let's just do that. Okay, I don't know what its problem is. All right, so if you want to go just off the cranium and not look up any reference images, then you can, But for me personally, I really like how this helmet looks, so I'm going to try my best to model this helmet. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing all these ornaments and shit like that. That'll probably have to be like textured on or painted on in like Substance Painter or Quixel Mixer, whatever software you use. But I'm just going to do the general shape, okay? Just the overall shape of this. I really like how this looked, so I'm going to do that one. There's a lot of cool ones you can look up, but I'm just looking at that one. So, all right. So with that being said, so we can go ahead and start the cut. I think it has like a little. It starts at a point and then kind of works its way out and up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to activate Box Cutter by hitting Alt W. Go to Ingon, I'm going to do a cut right here and a cut right there, and I'm going to hit B to bevel. That way it kind of rounds itself off, and then there you go. And then you're going to get some nasty shading issues, but they're a pretty easy fix, and honestly applying the boolean kind of helped anyway. And you can see here that it's just very nasty, but we can go ahead and join those edges, join this edge here, and join that edge there. And right off the jump, the shading is almost pretty much gone. I'm not going to spend too much time on shading issues, and this looks like it's just these edges needed to not be marked sharp. Okay, so we're going to unmark those sharp, and we're going to run a mirror modifier. And it's already looking okay, you know. Obviously the helmet. Okay, so honestly, well, let me relearn the English language and learn to speak properly. I forgot to solidify the object when I duplicated it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to. Okay, so this, I don't even think these edges need to be here. I think they're just causing trouble. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to run a solidify modifier here. Okay. Not too thick, probably something like that. All right. Whoa. We're going to go to front mode, and then we're going to bring that back. And then we're going to select all these faces right here. Okay. Oh, I got to first apply the solidify. So we're going to apply the mirror, apply the solidify, because if I try to move the solidify above the mirror, it's going to fuck everything up. And I'm just not in the mood for that right now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to apply that or resubmit that mirror modifier just so we have it. And now we can go ahead and select these bottom faces, okay? All these bottom faces, right? And then now what we can do is turn on proportional editing by hitting O on the keypad, not 0, but O, and then we just grab and then bring it down like that. Now the helmet kind of flares out. You see what I'm saying? Kind of goes that little swoop there, so we can actually go to front mode, and we can attempt to do something like that here. We can attempt. So let's start small here. Looks like the Liberty Bell or something. No, that's not kind of what I'm going for. You could sculpt this if you're crazy enough, but I think I'm just gonna attempt to try to make this cooperate a little bit. That looks okay. I think that looks okay. Okay, and honestly it needs some work, but we're getting there, I want to say. Obviously this is causing issues, so what you can do is, and this is a little trick I like to do sometimes when the faces do that, so to get the overall shape I'm actually going to remove these inside layers. So the way you could do that is you could hit L, but as you can see if you try to hit L it's going to select the entire thing. So instead of seam you could do sharp and it'll actually just select these inside faces. And then now you can hit X and delete just the inside faces, right? And now we're not going to have the overlapping face right there. Just for right now, just so until we can get the overall shape that we want. So I'm going to select these edges here, and I'm going to do the same thing, okay? Kind of just do something like this. Or maybe not. Alright, and we can probably scale these in. See what I'm saying? And we're going to get some nasty shading issues, but very fixable. Very fixable, okay? Don't sweat it. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. What's going on here? We're going to push this inward a little bit. Alright. And yeah, we got some nasty shading going on here, but I mean, honestly, if you go to material mode, it's really not even that noticeable anyway. So, but we're gonna go ahead and attempt to fix this because I know how Blender is. I know how Blender wants to be somebody. So, you know, I guess I'll just cooperate, give it what it wants, just for right now. All right, and that still looks yucky. Still looks yucky. So we're going to come here. And then this can just be merged to that. Okay. And I'm not going to spend too much time on shading issues, but As you can see, we're actually getting somewhat of the shape right there, but it's like a little bit shorter. It is like a little bit shorter, so we can go into edge mode and select this entire loop here. Or maybe not. So let's just go around manually by holding control. And then what we can do is come up with it and just bring everything up. Okay. And obviously it's clipping with this guy. But that's okay. Probably bring it down. Yeah, we can bring this down. We can bring it way down. Now, with that being said, I think that's okay for now. Woof, we got some bad shading right here. So, pretty bad shading issues right here, and the geometry is not necessarily cooperating either. So, with that being said, we're going to remove that. We're going to come this way with it. And then we're going to take this, subdivide it, and right here is just giving some nastiness. Okay. Yeah, it looks terrible. It looks terrible. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Okay. Very strange indeed. Strange times indeed. Okay, you know what? Just remove it. Just remove it. It's okay. You know, sometimes you just gotta say it's okay. Proportional editing isn't gonna mess with edge sliding. It looks like it does, but it really doesn't. It's just kind of a piece of shit sometimes. And yeah, what's going on here? This needs to be like right there. Okay. Bring this, and then bring this out. And then we can bring this up, bring this up, bring this up. I think that's the issue. It looks like it was the issue. Okay, yeah, forget whatever the hell I had before. This looks way better. And we're just going to leave it like that, okay? And it should be mirrored on the other side. Definitely looks better. Could it be better? It could definitely be better, but it's definitely better than what we had. And this looks like it just needs a little bit more even, Steven room. And again, we can come here. Alright. Okay. So, okay, what the hell is this now? Alright. So we got somewhat the shape. It looks like these side faces need to come in a little bit. So we go to front mode and then just grab it on the X and just kind of flatten it out a little bit. Nothing crazy, just enough to kind of look rounded. Nothing crazy. And those of you who are making like a character that, you know, like a faceless character, you can just delete the head. If I'm being honest with you, you could delete all the faces underneath. So with that being said, we can add a modifier, then create a solidify modifier. And that way it kind of makes like a little armor. And now what we can do is we can start with the eyes. So the eyes kind of like curve inward. So what we could do is we could go to D, Ingon, and then it looks like where does it start? Looks like there's also a hole here, but I can't really tell. But it looks like there's a little earpiece here, and then we're going to start with the eyes. We're going to focus on the eyes here. So it looks like it kind of curves in, I want to say. So we're going to start with something like this. We're going to go here. And then we're going to come down. I kind of want like a little point there. Maybe something like that, and then come up. And then we're going to stop about right here, and we're going to bevel it. Okay. Whatever, Blender. Obviously, it's probably not going to be exactly how it looks in the picture, but I kind of want to play around with shapes a little bit. It's very fun to play around with shapes, I will say that. And then hit bevel. Okay, there we go. Now it's cooperating. And then we could do something like that, okay? And it looks like Spider-Man or some shit, but... Now it's going to go all the way through the mesh, so you have to bring it out a little bit on the y-axis so it doesn't do that. And this is like not it at all, but you know, we can kind of make it look somewhat close to it. And honestly, this is actually one hole, believe it or not. It's actually just one hole. So we could do something like that. Okay. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and apply that. All right. And you're going to get shading issues. I'm going to show you guys how to fix that here in a second. But what happens here? Whoa, what is going on here? Okay. And that's a lot of edges. We can remove those for optimization purposes and shading purposes. You can see how bad that looks by skipping every other face, right? And that's going to be mirrored. So what we can do is we can kind of just do something like that for now, just to get that out of the way. And it fixed it a little bit for now. There's still a little bit of stuff going on there, but we can actually take that. Okay, stop that. We can take that, bring this in, and then we can take this and then maybe bring it there. And actually, that actually worked. And look how smooth that is. And obviously, there's other shading issues, but that's just a quick tip on how to fix, just a regular old shading issue. And what's happening is the face is not perfectly flat. If a face isn't perfectly flat, you're going to get shading issues. And that's only true if it's like really stretched out. But with that being said, let's move on. So if you look right here in the picture, there's like a little point right here. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go to right view. I'm going to, let's see if proportional editing will actually work here. It actually will in a way. And I'm going to bring it down. Okay. I'm going to bring it out and then down. And same thing with this vertice here is, I'll just get up a little bit. I'm going to bring it out and down. Well, maybe just out. Same with these. Let's bring it out. Well, I'm going to turn off proportional editing. Let's push this back in, because I feel like I was messing with that a little too much. Alright, and then we can go back into edge mode. We can just bring this down a little bit. Alright. Okay. And that's kind of what's happening here. Obviously, it's not so open. We kind of made ours a little open, or I made it a little more open. And again, with the shading issues, it looks like this edge is just a little too close, so we can just merge that, and that should fix our shading issue. No, it won't. So let's take this edge, and this edge, dissolve it, and it's still not working. So what we can do, man, what is going on here, bro? Oh, well, that should be joined for sure. So it looks like this should be the edge, maybe not this one. Very strange indeed. So this is one of those moments where you're going to have to isolate the shading. And what I mean by that is start it here, start the cut here, start the cut here, and end it here. Literally, that's it. And you see how much smaller the shading issue is? That's what you kind of do for if you want to isolate the shading, because I'm not going to get it perfect. You're not going to get shading perfect. You're still going to have the issue. You just got to isolate it. And if you go to material mode, it's barely even visible anyway. So, fuck you, Blender. I mean, obviously it's still kind of visible, but like when it's textured and it's in the game, and like Unreal Engine or Unity gets a hold of it and it does its own calculations, the shading issue won't even be noticeable if it's even there at all. Okay, because I've done this for 100 of assets at this point, and they all have some form of shading issue, and it's completely fine. And not all of them do have shading issues. Some of them are just static objects with no shading issues at all. But either way, that's how it's looking so far. It's so now you kind of have this, this little mohawk area. So if you want to do something like that, what you can do is you go to face mode and you select all these upper faces right here. All right, Blender. And then select all. Well, you don't have to select this side, just this one side because it's mirrored, right? And then we could just go all the way up here. And I think obviously, I'm assuming it goes all the way around, so we can just do that, right? We go all the way around. Bring it down. And there you go. And now those of you who are using hard ops, you can hit Q and then get a curve extract. Then you got something like this going, but I don't want it that thick. It's definitely not going to be that thick. About something about right there, okay? And then we're gonna apply the mirror, because if you try to put the solidify above the mirror, it's gonna fuck everything up. So with that being said, what you can do now is we can bring that mirror modifier back, because now the solidify is already applied. And now what's happening here is it's got this like curve that kind of does that. So what we can do is we can mimic that a little bit. We're gonna start with the front. So it kind of has like a starts right past the eye. So I should have put this a little further, but that's okay. So we're gonna come here. We're gonna go in, and we're just gonna go straight up, and we're gonna bevel it. Bevel the cutter. And it's gonna do something like that. Obviously, pretty bad shading issue. And just actually, it's not so straight. Well, that doesn't look bad actually. And the back side, what we can do is go to Everscroll. Whoa. Okay. Everscroll. Move it on the Y. Well, probably just keep it where it's at. So we're gonna start with the front. And we probably rotate this a little bit to where it has a little bit more of a slant. And then bring that in. Okay. Now this goes straight back, so maybe we won't rotate it. What we'll do is we'll shift one, we'll hide it, and then this time we'll just cut that out a little bit. Or actually, you know what? Bring this back. We can select these faces right here, or that face. Kind of rotate it and bring it down. Rotate it again. Bring it down. And then there you go. That's looking a little more rounded. And on the back side, what we can do, I have to bring this back. Huh. I don't know what's on the back side. I'm assuming it's pretty much the same thing, but I'm not sure. But that's okay. We can go ahead and hide that. Let's go ahead and apply that. Let's go to the back side, and then we just have to use our imagination here. So I'm going to use Ingon again. I'm going to come down like this. I'm just going to cut that off. But I'm going to have to bring it back because it's going to try to cut through the front, and I don't want that. I just want to cut through the back. Okay? We can rotate. Oh, wait a second. I like that. Hold on. Everybody, chill the F out. All right, so we're going to do something like this, and we're going to leave that there. I like that. Maybe it does look like that back there. I don't know. And then we can hit Control, or hit Q, hold Control, and sharpen that, okay? And obviously, shading issues. But we're not focusing on it right now. So you see this right here? See that little mohawk? Let's go ahead and do that, all right? So let's grab all these edges. I'm hitting Alt-X in edit mode to symmetrize because the modifier, the mirror modifier doesn't want to cooperate with old Al. So we can bring this up and out. Or you know what? Alt-S. Alt-S. And then there you go. Might as well go around all the way. So Alt-S. Something like that. Okay? And then we can resharpen that. Alright? And then there you go. So obviously this goes a little too far down, so we can hit hit G twice to edge slide. And we're going to edge slide up. And you see how that looks. It's looking pretty sick. And then we can resharpen that. Obviously you're going to get shading issues out the ass. And this looks like this is the shading issue right here. It's just a vertex that doesn't want to line up right. And no, that wasn't. So let's take all of these. Let's take this and let's put it there. That doesn't help either. So let's take this and let's actually see if we can run a loop cut through this whole area. Maybe not. It seems to have fixed the shading issue a little bit. But we're going to run a loop cut. Okay, we're going to start there. And we'll just bring this down. Okay, and we'll just bring this all the rest of the way. Okay, and then obviously the shading issue is still there, so we can just go ahead and fix it by merging that vertice. Okay, and merging that vertice, and just removing, okay, maybe not. And still there. Okay, so now this is another one of those instances where you gotta isolate it. So bam, 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 okay? and still not gone. So and then now we can probably isolate it because you can see where it's actually happening. Very strange indeed, but it's okay. It's okay. You know, I just wish Blender would, you know, put some lube on before it fucks me, but, you know, whatever. Whatever, Blender. I see your game. I see your game. I'm gonna do something stupid here. Yeah, I knew that was gonna be stupid. And I see the problem. It's it's this cut right here that royally screwed up this face here. Um, we can fix that. The way we can fix it, let's remove these edges here. Let's remove these edges, right? I'm gonna do something I don't normally do. I'm gonna go to sculpt mode and just hit shift. Wow. Yeah, that is not gonna work at all. Okay. That's a tricky one for sure. It's one of those things where if you want to manually slide all these edges forward, you could. And this is just way too many edges. So for a game asset, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be using it, but just to give you all a demonstration how to optimize a little bit, select every other edge. Make sure they're an even number of bevels that you have made. By default, I think it does use an even number, but as of right now, we're just going to dissolve those edges, okay? And that actually kind of helped the shading a little bit, getting rid of some of those extra edges. And you see this nasty edge right here, so you can probably just come down right here and then just bada bing, bada boom. Again, the shading isn't going to be perfect. All you can really do most of the time is just isolate it. Isolate your shading problems, okay? Isolate them down to a tiny little point to where they'll be almost pretty much minuscule. And then we can edge slide these edges away from each other. That way they're not so, it's not such a hard edge right there. But as of right now, it's looking okay. You know, we got that. Obviously, these details, I'm not going to be doing the ornaments. Could I? Maybe if I texture it in or draw the ornaments in, but we're just not doing all that, okay? This is just a rough shape of how we're going to be doing it. And already this looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously you got shading issues out the ass, but I mean, it's Blender, guys. It's Blender. What do you expect? What do you expect? Wow. What do you expect from Blender? Let's remove this edge. Let's take this vertice and edge slide it up, okay? And now we can probably finish the job there, right? And what's going on here? Okay, you're cool. Mark sharp, and bam. And again, isolate your shading issues. First of all, remove all these unnecessary edges by selecting every other one like a checker pattern, you know? And then there you go. And then we can come here and we can isolate the shading issue. And then same thing here. Well, this looks like it just needs to join these edges. Okay, that actually helped. That vertex just needed to join over there. And this looks like these edges are just too close. If I'm being real with you, this could probably just be edge slided way back there, and that actually helped. Okay. So yeah, sometimes if the edges are just a little too close, it's going to give you some problems. Like, so those vertices were a little too close, and you can see the shading issue's already pretty much gone. Well, it's still kind of there, so we can take this and maybe move it up. I think it's the same issue with the one back there, but I'm going to move this up. Actually, I'm going to move it to this one. All right, and you can do something like this if you wanted to be that kind of guy, and that actually kind of helped. And once again, material mode, I mean, like, you can't even really notice it. Yeah, there's a little bit something there, but even still, it's like, it's already isolated, so there's really not much more you can do. Oh, that actually kind of fixed it doing that. It's really strange, man. It's really strange how Blender just will not give you the benefit of the doubt sometimes. You know? It's just the way it is sometimes. Alright, and it's like something here just doesn't need to be there. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it, guys. I'm not even gonna joke with you. I ain't even gonna hold you. Okay, somehow I did a Boolean. Okay, Blender, calm your fucking shit, dude. Alright. And we probably just run an edge loop here. Then remove this. Blender, fuck off, dude. Okay, turn off fucking box cutter when you're inside of edit mode, or else it'll just it won't listen. It won't do anything for you. It's not gonna do anything any good for you. Okay, so that looks better. I can live with that. I can. I really can. I'm gonna drag these out a little bit more. Okay. This isn't a shading issue video. This is just how I model armor video, you know? And that actually looks better. Again, another shading issue. Well, it's the one I tried to fix. This vertex is fucking deep, dude. What? Okay. And this is me trying to isolate the shading, you know what I mean? So, there's no telling. Ah, I see. I see. Said the blind man. There you go. Are you happy now? Kinda. You're kinda happy now. Alright, so, I mean, this is a nightmare, bro. Alright. Okay. So, what's on the bottom? So, around the bottom is like this little triangle kind of thing going. And again, it's like around the eyes, so we can come here and, dude, this is just bugging me, dude. This is so bugging me, bro. I don't want to be bugged right now, dude. Blender, chill, bro. Relax, man. It's not that serious. I almost want to do it in material level because I can't see shit. You know what I mean? And in render mode, you really can't see shit. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's really not even there, dude. Like I said, you know, there's game industries out there that don't give a shit about shading issues. Whoever made Star Citizen is one of them. Because if you look at their ships, there was a guy who he was a 3D modeler, or he's still a 3D modeler, and he was looking closely at their ship design because their ship designs are very good. Star Citizen. And he looked at like the landing gear, I think, and the landing gear had like a very bad shading issue. And it's like, obviously, if Star Citizen doesn't fucking care, why should I? You know what I mean? Why should I care so much? Especially if I'm just an indie dev, a fucking solo guy. Who cares? No one's gonna be up in the character's face looking for shading issues. They don't care. They're gonna be like, oh my god, it's unplayable. This dude has triangles in his mesh, or this dude has a fucking shading issue. The game is unplayable, guys. Don't play it. 0 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, who cares, bro? Who cares? But either way, we're going to move on before I lose my mind. Alright? So once again, we're going to select these faces. We're going to select, I think it goes up to the eye, so we're going to select right up to there, and we're going to do maybe something like this. Okay? And then we're going to hit Q, curve extract, and then once again, I think the solidify just kind of doesn't want to cooperate. It's going to be a very thin sheet. It's not going to be that thick. And then once again, apply the mirror, apply the solidify, and then run that mirror one more time. Because, like I said, the orders, it just doesn't make sense sometimes. Sometimes it'll do its own thing. It'll mess up the mesh if I try to put the solidify on top of the mirror for some reason. Alright, so with that being said, now we could do that little curve that it's doing right here. So it kind of goes down all the way to the brim. So we can do that. Oh, we gotta put this back on. And now what we can do is come here, and then come here, and then bevel. Oh, well, come out here and then bevel. And then there you go. So something like that. And it looks like it's a little further in it, but it has that edge right here, which I like. That lip. And then we can just apply that. Again, shading issues out the ass. Probably easily fixable. Probably not. Who knows? And this this eye right here actually comes out. So if you look right here, you see how it kind of has that brim around the eye there, almost like another protective kind of shield. We can actually do that here. This might not look good, but I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring it out on the Y. Okay. And yeah, it doesn't really look too good. But another cool thing about curve extracting is if you can select these faces, you can hit Q and then just regular old curve extract without the, never mind, we will not be doing that. It's tricky sometimes, man. It's tricky sometimes. So let's just not go all the way up to here. Maybe stop right here. I mean, we kind of have to go out here. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again. Let's E to extrude. Let's move it on the Y. Let's go to right mode. Let's rotate it. F3. Is there a shear? No. Okay. Let's just bring it out. Let's Alt S. Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea. Let's select these faces again. Let's hit Q, Shift, Curve Extract. Bring it down. Right? Go to face mode. Well, again, apply that, apply that. What we can do is we can select these faces again and then just move them on the Y. Let's go to front mode. Okay, put on the mirror modifier. Go back to face mode, scale it. And then move it out on the X. Okay, bring it down. On the X, go to front mode, go to object mode, cut that off. Cut that off. And then what's going on right here? Okay, it's still pointed. Alright. So there you go. We got something. You know what I mean? So we could probably do something cool and cut that off. That doesn't look cool. That doesn't look cool either. I like the point. So kind of do something like that. Let's go ahead and apply that. And then let's go back into here and select these faces again. And then maybe edge slide. Alt S. We're going to Alt S and move it up a little bit. Okay. And then we're actually probably going to push it back on the Y. I think it came out a little too much. Okay. And there you go. You know, we got something. It's not perfect, but it's something. You know, that kind of that protective little brim right there. And yeah, we can honestly take this 1,000,001 different type of ways. So I'm gonna go into edge mode here. I'm gonna select all these edges right here, and then we can actually just do what it's doing on the picture and bring it out because it's like a protective piece of. Then we can resharpen that. That actually came out not how I expected it. I kind of like how that looks, but I don't want that there, so we're gonna remove that. Well, looks like it doesn't have not giving me much of a choice, so we can take that and bring it out with it. Okay. Then we're gonna have to edge slide this. Okay. And let's go ahead and resharpen that. And yeah, this is just a mess. This is a mess. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a mess. We could bring all these out. Okay. And then let's try that again. Yeah, you're gonna have shading issues. Once again, just isolate it. Just isolate it. Just isolate your shading issues because it's going to give you a massive headache if you don't. Okay. And if you want to be a big baller, you can just kind of shape these vertices how they're kind of going with the mesh. See, this one is way out there, so we can bring it in a little bit. Maybe remove these. Okay. Same thing here. And it's miserably deformed. Miserably deformed. So you're gonna have to isolate your shading because it's gonna be there. You know what I mean? It's going to be there. And the way I would do it, I would probably go to this last edge right here, or maybe just that last edge, and then remove that vertice. And then what we can do is probably come here, and then end it there, and then edge slide this as close as I possibly can to isolate that shading. And now the shading is in one tiny little point. Is it still there? Hell yeah, it's still there. So we could probably do something like this. Okay. Still looks like ass. So what we can do is something like that. And then just try your best to reform it, because sometimes you just gotta soldier through, man. Sometimes you just gotta soldier through. There's no add-on that'll really help you sometimes. So sometimes you just gotta soldier through that shit. I actually might just run a loop all the way down here. Okay. And yeah, you're gonna, it's gonna be there. Not sure why this is not having its edge, but whatever. And it's looking a lot better. I mean, from what it was to what it is now, way better. We're just gonna run a tiny, tiny, tiny edge right here. Okay, kind of isolate that shading, and then maybe edge slide this a little bit up, and you can see what's happening is causing all types of problems. But what am I doing? What am I doing, guys? I mean, do you see the issues I bring upon myself sometimes? There you go. Oh, man, you know, just ignore me, dude. And then now what we can do is bring this down, edge slide it because it's cutting into this. And then what we can actually do is, let's see if a bevel. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. I thought that would work. Let's bring this down a little bit, and then same thing with this. What is this doing here? Bring that shit down. That doesn't need to be like that, okay? Does not need to be like that. Don't ignore whatever the hell I was trying to do. Alright, so now we can go ahead and start on these shading issues, and most of these are going to be really easy. Like, look at this one. It just has to be connected to that vertice, okay? And that's going to kind of isolate that and remove it. Not isolate it, but remove it, clear it up a little bit. Same thing with this one. Go ahead and join that, and you can see much better. Same with this one. Join that, and way better. Okay, well, still kind of there, so let's bring that back. Let's run it to the end right there. Maybe edge slide this to the right. Yeah, it's still there. Same with this one. Still there, of course. So we're just going to continue here. We're going to move that up here. This could probably stay where it's at. That could stay where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and fix these up here soon, but let me get all these situated real quick. And right off the jump, just merging those vertices helped a lot. Again, still some shading issues here. I think there's just not enough edges. Okay, that looks like it helped a little bit. Again, right here, needs to be another edge here. Okay. I'm going to do what I did last time and delete those unnecessary edges. And then what I'll do is I'll move this down right there, move this down right there, move this up right there. And that looks way better. Way better. There was just too many beveled edges there that did not need to be there. Look how smooth it still is with those edges removed. Sometimes there's just extra geometry you just don't need that's causing the shading issue. See how much cleaner that is without all those extra edges? This could probably be removed as well. I'm actually going to keep that because it's kind of holding the shape there, and it's not causing any shading issues, as you can see. It looks completely fine, and it's not even close to a quad. So all you quad boys, calm down. Alright, so we're going to move that there, and way better. Alright, and look what else he got. So he's got that little brim on around the edge, the little extra brim trim, if you want to call it that. So what we can do is we can select all these faces out here, E, and then let's scale that up, scale that out. I'll take that back. We're not going to do that. Wait. Yeah, we're not going to do that. because this is connected to it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna undo that, right? We're gonna select these faces instead, right? Select that. Let's go all the way around. All the way around. Yep, including you. We can fix that. I'll show you how I'm gonna fix that. So we're gonna hit Q, curve extract, and it's got a little brim around the edge there. Go ahead and apply, nope, go ahead and apply the mirror, apply to solidify. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut it, okay? Because it needs to smoothen out. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna do it. Well, first of all, mirror it. Take that. Well, take this edge. I mean, that vertice, merge it to those, the appropriate vertices, and we can edge slide this other way, other way, other way, other. Okay. All right. Same with this one. Wait. Yeah. Same with this one. And the brim's a little thick. I was to say, is there not an edge on that side? Same with this one. What the hell's wrong with you? Just move, just push it back. And then, bam. Okay. And same with this. What's going on here? Crazy. All right. There you go. No, I'm gonna bring that back. I'm gonna bring that back. I joke. I kid. I'm gonna bring that down. I'm gonna bring this down. No. Slide down your damn face, my guy. A lot of extra geometry you can remove, by the way, like inside faces, something that the player is never going to see. That's what I usually do. I'll just delete the inside faces, and yeah, it helps a lot. I know the brim that I'm making is extremely thick, but this is just demonstration purposes. If I really want, I already have the helmet done. The whole character's done, you know, so it's just, this is just me giving a little demonstration on how I would do things, you know. And if you don't like how it's merging right here, you can do your own little trick. So for my example, I'm just going to cut right here. Okay. And it's going to mirror on the other side. And there you go. So it looks really cool. I mean, if I wanted to texture this and everything, you know, let's give it that material. Let's give it to material. I think there's a material here somewhere. So like armor trim, or no. Armor, and then this could be the armor trim. The stuff I already made. And obviously with texture and painted details, you can add like those screws there, or those bumps and those ornaments. You could paint that all in, or you could sculpt the actual helmet, and then sculpting the helmet would you'd have to retopologize the helmet obviously and bake the normal map, bake what you sculpted in, but it actually look really really cool. Or you can paint ornaments in a texturing software. I would use Quixel. I use Quixel. I need to learn Substance Painter eventually, but I'm not there yet. But yeah, I mean, it's very basic from what's going on here. Obviously, there's a lot of detail going on here, a lot of little ornaments. There's a little like bridged little area right here, like a scaly area, which looks really sick. And you can actually do that if you want more geometry. That is, what time am I at right here? 48 minutes, bro. That's wild. All right, so if you wanted to do something like that, you could select like these faces here, right? Select these faces here. And then you could do like a Q, or this is going to look crazy. I actually might. Hold on. Oh, I selected the wrong. Oh, my bad. Okay, so we're going to select these faces all the way up to here. Again, why are you doing that? So let's just go here then, since Blender again is not cooperating. All right, and then I actually want to do something a little different. I to inset twice, hit I twice to inset those individual faces, and then you could actually come out with it. And then you can have something like that. Adds a little bit more detail there. Looks sick. But I'm going to do that a little differently. I'm going to go all the way over here. Okay. I'm going to hit I to inset. And then bam. Now, if you wanted to go even crazier with it, you can hit I to inset again, hit Control plus, hit go up here to select loops, select boundary loops, and Control X. Now you got this kind of design going on. That looks sick. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's only if you want to do that. If you are making like a small game where, you know, you don't really care about the geometry count. Like I'm using Unreal Engine, so I kind of rely on Nanite for a lot of things, to be honest with you. But obviously I can't fully rely on Nanite because it's not perfect. Out of the box, it's not perfect. But I still kind of do it. So this actually, I remember now, can be fixed relatively easily. So we can do something like that. Move that edge here. Still not good. Oh, I see the problem. Hold on. That's a little better. Again, it's just, you really just gotta isolate these shits sometimes. There you go. Way better. Way better. And probably edge slide this a little bit because this is going to cause trouble. Alright, we don't even need that edge right there. Honestly, this could probably be just edge slided back over here. Okay, maybe not. Oh, I didn't see this. Okay. Alright. Delete that, bring this edge back. And there you go. It's not perfect, but you know, like I said, material mode, can't even see it anyway, so what's the problem? Alright. If I come like right here, yeah, you're gonna see it, but which player is gonna come this close to it? Come on now. Alright. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. This is a quick video on how I do armor. Obviously, this is not the helmet that I landed on, so I'm going to delete all of this because that's not what I wanted. Alright. But you can kind of see what I'm going with. Let me delete that. And then we're going to bring the helmet that I landed on, which was this one. I really like this one, so I'm going to keep it, right? But either way, guys, thank you guys for watching. That's pretty much it for this one. Like I said, I'm not a character artist. I do not create characters. That is not my forte. But I can do it if I have to, especially if I'm making a game. So I did do it. And he came out way better than I thought he would, if I'm being honest. In game, like animation went pretty much flawless. Went not flawless, but went smoothly, I should say. Smoother than I thought it would. But with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it. Take care. See you on the next one. All that good stuff. Peace out.